It's going to be a busy week on Capitol Hill as more of President Trump's administration picks face confirmation hearings, and this week's roster of nominees are up for some of the highest profile positions the White House has to offer: the FBI Director, Health and Human Services Secretary, and Director of National Intelligence. I want to bring in CBS News congressional correspondent Caitlin Huey-Burns to discuss. Caitlin, good to see you. These three high-profile positions are incredibly important. What are we expecting to hear from lawmakers when they sit down to possibly confirm the folks this week? Have they had opportunities to meet with them, for example?
Yeah, good to see you, Vlad. Yes, they've had lots of meetings up here on Capitol Hill, and these are some of the most high-profile names that we are going to see go through these committees. Let's start with Wednesday. We're expected to hear from Robert F. Kennedy Jr., the nominee to be HHS Secretary. He's going to sit through two committees, but the Finance Committee is the one that's going to be eventually voting him out or not of committee. And that's going to be, such a focus up here on Capitol Hill for a variety of different reasons. We know his controversial statements about vaccines. There's going to be a lot of questions about that, particularly from the Democratic side of the aisle. But remember, Robert F. Kennedy Jr. himself, of course, was a former Democrat. So we'll see whether there is any crossover support for some of the things that he has proposed regarding other items that the HHS, that he will have under his purview. Another big name coming up here on Capitol Hill, as you mentioned, is Tulsi Gabbard, another former Democrat picked to be Trump's top national security advisor. This is going to be a very controversial one to watch because of her past, history and questions that the security community has about her serving in this role. So we're watching for any crossover support there. But Vlad, what I was really watching was here on Friday night when the Senate very narrowly confirmed Pete Hegseth, and we saw Mitch McConnell, who is no longer in a leadership position, no longer, beholden to the Trump party base, go against his party and vote against Hegseth. And so for some of these other nominees like Gabbard and Kennedy, what does that mean for the confirmation fights ahead? Potentially some more very narrow picks.
Indeed. There are a few other nominees, Caitlin, due back on the Hill this week who've already begun the process. What can you tell me about that?
Yeah, well, just tonight, we're expecting the Senate to confirm Scott Bessent, who will be likely, once confirmed, be the Treasury Secretary. And this is an example of a very non-controversial pick. We're expecting him to get some wide bipartisan support, a very, low-key hearing, not a lot of fireworks out of that hearing. This is an example of someone who has drawn bipartisan support, and we're likely to see that tonight. We're also watching for the confirmation of Attorney General pick Pam Bondi. We're also expecting some crossover support for her as well. So as we're kind of comparing to some of these other more controversial nominees who are going through committee hearings this week, expect final votes on some of these others this week.
All right, Caitlin Huey-Burns for us. Thank you, Caitlin, as always.